September 1943. Rain drums on corrugated iron. Captain James Caldwell stands in a converted barn outside Southampton, England. He is an ordnance officer with the United States Army. Before him lie rows of artillery shells, 105mm rounds stacked on wooden pallets. The air smells of damp hay and rust. Caldwell runs his hand along a shell casing. It feels cold, too cold. He knows what that means. 2 days earlier, a gun crew died in Kent. Their howitzer exploded during a routine fire mission. The breech blew backward, killing 3 men instantly. 2 more died before reaching the field hospital. The official report listed the cause as premature detonation. Caldwell read that report. He requested the shell fragments. When they arrived, he found green corrosion on the brass casing and a faint smell of vinegar from the propellant residue. The powder had degraded. Moisture had turned a stable charge into a bomb. Caldwell is 32 years old. He studied chemistry at Cornell before the war. The Army assigned him to ammunition logistics because he understood molecular structures and reaction rates. Now he faces a problem that kills without warning. The European theater runs on artillery. Every offensive depends on thousands of shells fired in coordinated barrages. If the shells explode in the guns instead of downrange, the entire campaign stalls. He walks through the barn, checking storage conditions. The walls leak. Puddles form on the concrete floor. The wooden pallets absorb water like sponges. At night, temperatures drop. Condensation forms on the metal casings. Water seeps into the propellant charges through microscopic gaps in the seals. The powder inside, designed to burn in a controlled flash, begins to break down. Nitrocellulose degrades into nitric acid. The acid corrodes the casing from the inside. The powder becomes unstable. A slight jar, a temperature change, even the shock of loading can trigger detonation. Caldwell requisitions humidity meters from supply depots across southern England. He places them in every ammunition storage facility within 50 miles. The readings confirm his fear. Relative humidity inside the barns averages 75%. Some warehouses reach 85%. The propellant powder is rated safe only below 50% humidity. Every shell stored in these conditions is degrading. He calculates the scale of the problem. The theater holds approximately 2 million artillery rounds in forward storage. If even 1% become unstable, that means 20,000 potential premature detonations. 20,000 chances for gun crews to die. He writes a report to the Ordnance Department. He explains the chemistry. He includes photographs of corroded casings and degraded powder samples. He requests immediate action. The response takes 3 weeks. The reply is brief. Storage facilities cannot be rebuilt. Ammunition must remain where it is. Find another solution. Caldwell returns to the barn. He studies the shells. The problem is not the ammunition itself. The problem is the environment. He cannot change the weather. He cannot rebuild every warehouse in England, but he can create a barrier between the ammunition and the moisture. He needs a container that seals completely, something that keeps water out and keeps dry air in. He contacts a manufacturer in Birmingham. The company produces metal canisters for medical supplies. Caldwell explains his requirements. The canister must be airtight. It must withstand rough handling. It must hold a standard artillery shell without wasting space. The manufacturer sends prototypes. Caldwell tests them. He fills a canister with a shell and a humidity meter. He seals it. He places it in the dampest corner of the barn. After 1 week, he opens it. The meter reads 42% humidity. The shell casing shows no corrosion. The seal works, but dry air alone is not enough. The air trapped inside the canister still contains moisture. Over time, that moisture will condense. Caldwell needs something to absorb the water vapor. He remembers silica gel, a desiccant used in laboratories. He orders packets of silica gel crystals from a chemical supply company in London. He places 2 packets inside each canister with the shell. The packets absorb moisture from the sealed air. The humidity inside drops to 30%. The environment becomes stable. Caldwell presents his solution to his commanding officer, Colonel Thomas Brennan. Brennan is skeptical. The canisters cost money. Repackaging 2 million shells requires time and labor. The war moves faster than logistics. Caldwell argues his case. He brings the fragments from the Kent explosion. He shows the corroded casings. He explains the chemistry in simple terms. Moisture kills. Sealing saves lives. Brennan approves a trial. Caldwell receives authorization to repackage 10,000 shells. He sets up a repackaging station in a warehouse near the Southampton docks. He trains a crew of 12 soldiers. The process is methodical. Remove a shell from the wooden crate. Inspect the casing for corrosion. Wipe it dry. Place 2 silica gel packets in the canister. Insert the shell. Seal the lid. Check the seal with a pressure gauge. Stack the canister in a new storage rack. Each shell takes 4 minutes. The crew works in shifts. They repackage 500 shells per day. While the crew works, Caldwell develops a monitoring system. He creates a log sheet for every storage facility. The log tracks temperature, humidity, and the date each batch of ammunition was sealed. He establishes a rotation protocol. Oldest stock moves to the front first. No sealed canister remains in storage longer than 60 days. The system ensures that ammunition reaches the guns before moisture can penetrate even the best seals. He also writes a training manual. The manual explains how to inspect shells for corrosion. It describes how to handle sealed canisters. It includes photographs and diagrams. Caldwell distributes the manual to every ordnance unit in the theater. He conducts training sessions at supply depots. He teaches sergeants and corporals how to read humidity meters and how to recognize degraded powder. The knowledge spreads. By November 1943, 50,000 shells are sealed in canisters. Caldwell tracks the results. Premature detonations drop. In October, the theater recorded 12 incidents. In November, the number falls to 7. In December, it drops to 3. The correlation is clear. Sealed ammunition does not explode in the guns. The success draws attention. The Ordnance Department orders full implementation. Manufacturers in Britain and the United States begin mass production of the canisters. By January 1944, production reaches 100,000 canisters per week. Repackaging stations open across England. Caldwell travels between them, checking procedures and refining the process. He discovers that some crews skip the silica gel packets to save time. He makes the packets mandatory. He discovers that some warehouses stack canisters too high, crushing the seals. He sets a maximum stack height of 6 canisters. Every problem receives a solution. Every solution becomes part of the protocol. In March 1944, the theater prepares for the invasion of France. Ammunition stockpiles grow. Caldwell's canisters protect millions of shells. The premature detonation rate stabilizes at less than 1% of the pre-canister level. Gun crews trust their ammunition. Artillery officers plan barrages without fear that their guns will explode. The reliability changes tactics. Commanders order longer bombardments. They know the shells will fire. Caldwell does not participate in the invasion. He remains in England, managing the supply chain. On the 6th of June, 1944, Allied forces land in Normandy. The artillery barrage begins before dawn. Thousands of shells arc over the English Channel. The guns fire without incident. The ammunition performs as designed. Caldwell reads the after-action reports. No premature detonations. No gun crews lost to faulty shells. The system works. As the Allies advance across France, Caldwell's protocols move with them. Forward supply depots adopt the canister system. Humidity monitoring becomes standard procedure. Rotation schedules ensure fresh ammunition at the front. The methods prove effective in the damp forests of the Ardennes and the wet fields of Belgium. Wherever the guns fire, the shells remain stable. Intelligence reports reveal that German forces face similar problems. Axis ammunition stockpiles, stored in improvised depots and bombed-out buildings, suffer high failure rates. German gun crews experience frequent premature detonations. Their artillery becomes unreliable. The contrast gives the Allies an advantage. American and British guns fire predictably. German guns do not. The difference matters in battles where artillery decides the outcome. By the spring of 1945, Caldwell's canister system is doctrine. The Ordnance Department publishes his protocols in the official field manual. Every ordnance officer learns his methods. The canisters become standard issue. The system saves lives not through dramatic action but through careful attention to detail. Moisture control, humidity monitoring, stock rotation. Simple steps that prevent disaster. Caldwell receives a commendation. The citation mentions his contribution to artillery reliability. It does not mention the lives saved. Those numbers remain uncounted. How many gun crews did not die because their shells did not explode? How many battles were won because the artillery fired when needed? The answers exist only in the absence of disaster. After the war, Caldwell returns to the United States. He leaves the Army and returns to chemistry. He works for a pharmaceutical company, developing packaging for moisture-sensitive medications. The principles remain the same. Keep water out. Keep the contents stable. Protect the user from invisible danger. He does not speak often about his wartime service. When asked, he describes it simply. He solved a storage problem. He made ammunition safer. The work was technical, not heroic, but the impact endures. The canister system he designed remains in use. Modern military ammunition is still stored in sealed containers with desiccant packets. Humidity monitoring is still standard practice. Stock rotation is still mandatory. The protocols Caldwell wrote in a damp English barn in 1943 still protect soldiers 80 years later. His contribution was not a single dramatic act, but a system that works quietly, preventing failures that would otherwise kill. The barn outside Southampton no longer stands. The warehouses are gone. The war moved on, but the principle remains. Moisture is a silent killer. Sealing is a simple solution. And attention to detail saves lives. Caldwell understood that. He built a system around that understanding. And the system worked from Normandy to the Rhine, ensuring that every shell fired predictably, every gun crew survived, and every battle had the ammunition it needed to succeed.